We got a problem in Edmonton.
What's that?
We got an Edmonton Oilers team that is 3-9-1. That's good enough for 31st in the league.
Oof.
Their goals allowed per game, 2.69, which is 26th in the league. That's the best stat of the bunch that I'm about to give you. As in, like, that's their highest stat.
Allowed
2.69.
Oh, the goals they've scored.
Oh, yeah, sorry, goals 4. Excuse me.
I was like, wait, no.
Goals alloud's the next
They'd
one.
be close to first place.
Goals allowed, the next one is 3.29. That's the average amount of goals they allow. They're 30th in the league for that. Their goal differential is -16, which is 31st.
Yikes.
Only the Sharks, who had 20 goals scored on them in 2 games, could beat that. Their save percentage is an .864, 32nd in the league, and their penalty kill is at 70%, 30th in the league. The last stat that will blow your mind the most is Connor McDavid is on pace for 73 points right now.
It's crazy. That's a down season. Did you watch?
What's half of what it was last year?
I know. Did you watch the Oilers Sharks game?
I was with you. Oh, the Oilers Sharks game. Yes.
Yeah.
I would watch pieces.
I was like, wait, you were? No.
Yeah.
One thing with those stats, how does it make you feel knowing that the Leafs have allowed more goals than the Edmonton Oilers?
I believe it.
Listen, it's not like the Leafs have had a great start.
Yeah.
They had a good game on Saturday, but it hasn't been a great start.
Well, the Leafs are doing what the Oilers usually do, which is scoring their way out of their problems, which, is not the greatest or sustainable, but it's at very least a way to get you through the early part of the season. Oilers haven't even been doing that, right? Like, we were talking about the goaltending being their biggest problem, and then like defense is their biggest problem, but it feels like the Oilers have identified it as well. McDavid's production's been cut in half. So it seems like they've prioritized Connor McDavid with their coaching change.
Right.
I don't think Woodcroft was the problem, but...
So Connor McDavid, the connections to Connor McDavid now are the CEO and president, Jeff Jackson, Connor's agent as of 3-4 months ago. The big UFA get, Connor Brown, who is a game away from a $3 million bonus, which will eat into their cap for next year. That was his line mate in junior. And then now the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, Kris Knoblauch, that was his junior head coach as well.
CJ Show group chat brought this stat up. I think it was Julian McKenzie. McDavid never led the Erie Otters in scoring. That blew my mind. Huh? It was Connor Brown.
It's Connor Brown. That's pretty wild, isn't it?
That's crazy.
So this happened after a win. And it was interesting because in the press conference, Ken Holland and Jeff Jackson talked about some things that they were aligned on. We'll get to the stuff that they weren't aligned on. I just sent Jesse a quick link here. But the thing that they were aligned on, at least if they were lying about it, is around the second period, they started discussing maybe they needed to make a change. It takes a few days because they had to get Knoblauch in from Hartford, get the contract done, that sort of thing. It's funny, right? Players and teams go in entire years and they can't figure out a contract extension. But when a team needs a coach, they can sure do it overnight.
What is it? Deadlines clear the mind?
Yes, that's the Alan Walsh quote. So, Jesse, I'm hoping that you'll fast forward to 17:27 of the introductory press conference for Kris Knoblauch. And with apologies to Mr. Knoblauch, he is not the focus. What the focus here really should be is a changing of power yet again in Edmonton. Kris Knoblauch is the 18th head coach in Oilers history. He is the 10th in the last 13 years.
Wow.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has had 10 coaches.
That's unbelievable.
That's a lot of coaches.
Could I name them all? I don't know if I could.
I think you get 7 or 8 of them.
Drew's like, don't. Don't do it.
It's boring.
Don't even try.
So this to me speaks that management's not on the same page and that there is a shifting dynamic. Ken Holland, when he was brought in, he was given the keys. He was the king. Yeah. Ken Holland is not the king anymore, and you're going to see it with this clip from the press conference yesterday.
Sports Talk, Tom Gazzola. For Jeff or Kenny, obviously a decision like this comes with a lot of deliberation. You guys have to meet and discuss. Does the players' leadership group come into the conversation? Were they brought in to discuss potential options for this team moving forward? Is that something that you guys bring into consideration or have done before?
I'll let, because I did talk. I have talked over this past week with some of the veterans on our team. I'm not going to tell you what they said. I take the information. Ultimately, I have to make decisions. Obviously, Jeff's got a long relationship with Connor. You can probably talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we didn't consult with the players on this decision. Never spoke with Connor or Leon or Nuge or Nursey or any of the other leadership group. These guys are here to play hockey. That they know that's what they want to do. They don't like being involved in these types of decisions. That's my experience. So the fact that Kris was Connor's coach in Erie in 2014-15, it only has something to do with this because I think Kris Knoblauch's a very good coach. Connor didn't have anything to do with this decision, and neither did the other leadership group.
Just one more.
I didn't grind my feet into Eddie's couch. Come on, I got a little bit more sense than that. Yeah, I remember grinding my feet in that man's couch.
Yeah. So already, I mean, you would think that they'd be ready for a conversation like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Connor McDavid, you can truly call them the Connor McDavid Edmonton Oilers because they are.
I saw some people talk about the LeBron treatment with McDavid, and people were very quick to point out, well, yes, but LeBron has succeeded. Like, they've given him a lot of power within his team.
Because he's won.
He succeeded with the power.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this is Connor doing this. I think they're trying to appease him by bringing in as many people to make him happy as possible.
Right. Yeah. And there's two things going on there. One is that we need to rethink the way what a general manager does and what a president does, because the old way we thought of GMs, now that's the president role. When Jeff Jackson was brought in as president of hockey operations and CEO of the Edmonton Oilers, he is now de facto overseer of big decisions. Same way Brendan Shanahan controlled the big decisions in Toronto that Dubas was making. The president is now doing those things. The GM is now doing the day-to-day tasks.
Yeah, we're seeing GMs lose power.
Yeah, it's the power just shifting to the president role. They're now in control of everything. Mm-hmm. So that's why Jeff Jackson gets to make the head coaching decision. He brought in the guy that he's loved for decades now in Kris Knoblauch. And the other thing is Ken Holland's sitting there, but he's not going to be sitting there for very long because his contract is up at the end of the year.
Yeah,
he's just sitting there for the sake of being around guys and having fun. He's playing out the season. I was like, okay, he probably should have been fired, but then you think about it a little. No, he's just going to be fired in June, and he's not even going to be fired. He's just going to be let go because his contract's over. So Ken Holland isn't in any of this. Like, he's not making any decisions. He's transitioning to the next phase of whenever Jeff Jackson wants to bring in his guy now to be the day-to-day operator when he's GM and president.
Now, lost in that changing of the guard, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is that Paul Coffey, who's never been behind an NHL bench. Neither is Kris Knoblauch, by the way.
He's replaced he coached the Rangers during the COVID season.
Oh, okay.
When their coach was out, I think with COVID or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that. So he did like 3 games.
Okay, fair. No,
yeah.
That's behind the bench then.
Yeah. So it's like technically.
I think I can be forgiven for not knowing that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, you're not fucking know.
That's okay.
Hey, stupid!
But all the same, Paul Coffey, who's never expressed an interest in being a coach, never been a coach, never been an assistant coach, is now the assistant coach. Now he's Paul Coffey. He is a all-star caliber defenseman most of his career. I think he leads all defensemen in scoring ever. I would listen to the guy.
I think that's Ray Bork.
Oh, is it Ray Bork? Okay, then Paul would be like in the top 5.
He's very high up.
And the thing about it is that he holds a dual role. He isn't just the assistant coach now because he had a role before and he's maintaining that role. And that role is special advisor to Daryl Cates.
Well,
To the owner
of the team. I think, it could make some sense having Paul Coffey on the Oilers bench. Hey, you guys know how to move the puck, but you can't defend for shit. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my career. And they were able to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was it's funny. How we kind of retcon a legend's career at the very end of it, or just looking back on it, we only look back on their accolades. Like Paul Coffey was constantly criticized during his playing days. You go back and look at any newspaper article, they're talking about him friggin' like, yeah, he can put up the points, but can he lock a game down when they need him to? Bouchard needs someone to right the ship there. Nurse needs someone to right the ship. And that's just those two. I mean, I point out the Edmonton Oilers defensemen having really good seasons. It's not a ton of them.